Well, hello, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's late daily recap is for Thursday, November the 16th, 2023. Thursday, November the 16th. Well, what do we have here? Let's get back down to the best of the best. Woo! Nikki escapes, right? She gets a can opener, Jimmy's the lock because she says, no, I got to think. I got to get out of here. You can get out of here, Nikki. She jimmies the lock, it works. She's out. She takes off her shoes so that she could tiptoe through the house. Although those were soft shoes, they weren't high heels. Let me tell you something, I'd have had them shoes on. It's not like they were tap shoes. I still would have tiptoed, but my feet would have been protected because I don't know what kind of tacks and nails they got on that ground, even though, look, that'll go through the shoe too. But at least there's a layer between my foot and whatever's on that ground. Mm-mm. So she gets out. She tries to open the door, the window, like a French door, won't open. Tries to open front door, won't open. She can't get out the windows. Well, guess what? I would have picked up a chair, Nikki, broke that window, and got out. But see, she's still a little drowsy from being the tea drugging her. So then she sees her purse and she's looking for her phone. She empties out everything, no phone. So she's really upset. And she sees a phone. So she picks up the phone and she's trying to see if she can get a dial tone, no dial tone. Well, newsflash, Nikki, what landline works these days? That's a, no, look, a lot of people still have landlines. I don't. I haven't had a landline in a number of years now. I just don't need them. Don't need it. But anyway, as she's like, hello, hello, pushing on the phone, Claire comes up, over dramatizing with her look, and pokes her in the neck with the syringe. And Nikki passes out. So she lays her in a chair, and Nikki's like, why are you doing this to me? Why? And then Claire says something about, all the people you Newmans with your pompous self-righteous, blah, 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 all the people that you've cast aside and you've hurt because you deemed they weren't, it's gonna be somebody in Nikki's past that got stepped on. Okay, we're gonna, oh no. They're really throwing this in. And you know what? Young and the Restless has been too slow over this whole November sweeps. This little silly storyline about Nikki is not good enough to cut it, y'all. So Nikki wakes up and she's laying there, right? And she's like, what's going on? And she sees she's got this IV, you know, in her. And she hallucinates. First, she sees Victor, and he comes over, my baby, my baby. We got to get you out of here, my baby. And the first thing we got to do is get this line out of your hand. He goes, now it's going to hurt when I pull it out, but it's got to come out. So he rips it out. She's like, hey. But then she wakes up and she looks, there's no Victor. But there's this creepy doll with a little blood tear, but come on, it's red fingernail polish. But coming out the eye, that in itself would have given me all the strength I needed because there is no way in heck that I'm gonna look up and the bride of Chucky is sitting right there with a blood red line coming out of her eye. Oh, are you kidding me? Nikki picks up this ugly doll that would have scared 10 years off of my life, throws it down. And then she looks at the line and she rips it out of her hand. And then and she's covering it up because, that hurts. Because quite frankly, you're supposed to peel the surgical tape off first. And then you got a clear path of pulling a needle out of your hand. But trying to pull a needle out of your hand and it's still taped is a bit difficult, y'all. What's up with that? But guess what? See, that needle really wasn't in her vein, was it? Because it's TV. So it wasn't in her vein, but they had to make it look good. So she gets it out, and now she's trying to figure out, okay, what's she gonna do? What can she do? So it ends right there with that kind of peril that poor Nikki is in. So then we have Victoria. And for the first time, I was so super proud of Victor because he had to put the brat Victoria in place like she had never been put in her place before. Because she had the nerve to come in. Oh, yeah. So you had to send your henchmen, Adam and Nick, to come and talk to me. And he looked at her and he goes, you were supposed to be at a meeting. Yeah, well, I didn't want, she like something flippant. She didn't want to come or she whatever, right? And she still, she doesn't appreciate, Adam, and she is not going to work with Adam. Why do you insist on giving him anything when all he's done was try to hurt you in this family? He doesn't even deserve. And she goes, that is enough. And she looks at him. She goes, I want to tell you, like I told your brothers, all this infighting is going to stop. And if you don't like it, you could take a walk. Oh, I could just take a walk, Dad. Oh, I could take a walk. He goes, yeah, you could take a walk. And so Victoria says, well, she goes, after everything I have done, and he goes, yeah, after everything you've done, everything I've given you, I put you in this chair. He says, as a matter of fact, Victoria, I'm offering you. She goes, well, then why would you even want me at this company if you feel my judgment, isn't up to par? He goes, because without the company, you will spiral out of control. Is that what you think? Is that what you think? That all I have is this? He goes, what do you have? He says, aside from my company that I let you run, what do you have, Victoria? What have you ever done separate from this? And she looked at him and he pretty much told her, you're nothing without me. And she just couldn't believe it because in her mind, she's thinking, what have I done without him? Yeah, she put in the time and the years with Newman, but she got to rise up this ladder only because that was her daddy like that. Only because it was her father. And only because Nicholas didn't want it. Nicholas was always Victor's first choice. So Nicholas comes in. He goes, I figured I'd find you here, Vic. Well, yeah. Our father just says that my life is nothing without him. That I have nothing. And as she's doing this ranting, right? Victor, you know how he dismisses you? He picks up his phone and he's texting as you're talking. He ain't giving her the time of day. She's doing this ranting and raving, and he's looking at his phone, texting or checking his email. Well, fine. I'll just leave then. And she goes storming out. And Victor's just looking at her like, whatever, get on out of here. You can go, right? So when, back to Nikki. Claire gets her up, and I told you she's stuck her in this room. But before that, Claire told her she had waited a long time, um, to for this payback or for this to come, this reckoning to come. So, like I said, it's definitely going to be somebody in Nikki's past. And then we have Kyle. He goes home, and Diane walks in, and he's like, she goes, Kyle, what's the matter? He goes, sit down, get a drink. You're going to need it. He proceeds to tell his mother the whole story. How he initially was going to just actually do turncoat on the family and betray them, and they had offered him his position that he deserved. And he goes, but I couldn't go through with it. He goes, but I am ashamed that I was going to go through with it. I thought I could. And he goes, and now what's even worse, I have to have the courage to tell dad about it. And Diane's like, but you didn't go through with it. You came to your senses. Oh, she just patted him on the back because being the good son that he is. And she says, no, don't tell your father. She says, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We are going to use this as an opportunity. I want you to go back and see what kind of intel you can really get from Audra and Tucker. You'll be like a mole. And you'll be able to come back once you know what their planning is and their plans. And you'll be able to tell your father. And he will be able to beat Tucker. And Kyle, he'll be so proud of you. This whole mess with Billy being the co-CEO, Jack will forget all about that. Forget all about it. And you'll get your rightful place back. And he goes, but I don't want to lie to Dad. I don't want to, I just want to tell him what happened and clear the air. She goes, no, it's not a lie. You just aren't going to tell him everything yet. I've got a plan. See, this is where Diana's going to mess up. This is where she's going. See, Diane always got a scheme and a plan. And it's going to go wrong. Horribly wrong. And good. That's going to be what she deserves. 100% what she deserves. So, we have Audra. So Audra tells Tucker, you know what, I'm gonna go to Audra and then I'm gonna come back to Jill. Audra tells Tucker, she goes, sit down, you're gonna need a drink. Everybody says sit down and get yourself a drink, right? So he goes to the bar, gets himself a drink, and she tells him Kyle backed out. And he goes, oh, well, I knew he would. She's like, what? He says he can't betray his family. Well, of course, because he can't. She goes, you are not upset? She goes, let me tell you something, Audra. The Abbotts are anything. If they're not anything, they're definitely predictable. Of course, Kyle was going to grow a conscience and go running back to Daddy and Mommy. But see, Abbotts being Abbotts, now they're going to use this as an opportunity, so they think. We have not heard the last of Cal Abbott. See, he's going to be sent back to us as a mole. And then we're going to have them right where I want them. And she goes, well, since you knew this was going to happen, why didn't you tell me? He goes, so you could overplay your hand with cockiness and overconfidence? No. Which is what she was, cocky and overconfident. He goes, no, you needed to learn as well. So Tucker's Peachy King, he goes, it's just a waiting game. That's all it is. All we got to do is wait. Kyle Abbott will come back to us. So Jill walks up, says, I need to speak to Tucker. And so he looks at Audra. Can you give us Can you excuse us? She goes, gladly. And she gets up. And then Jill, of course, is, I know you and Mamie Johnson are in cahoots. And he's just looking at her like, I don't know what you're talking about, Jill. But I want you to know, Tucker, that I don't think nothing about you. You don't worry me. He goes, if that were true, Jill, you wouldn't be here. But you are here. So, I mean, it was a nothing conversation. Jill wasn't going to get nothing out of Tucker. I don't even know why she went to go see him. It was a waste. But what happened is Daniel had said, told Jill all the evidence they found. Lily's team found some evidence, and I don't know how Daniel found his little evidence about Mamie and Tucker being the one that's been funding, large funds into Mamie's company, her company that she manages, right? So they're definitely in cahoots. And Lily's team confirmed all those findings. And so Jill's like, Mamie and Tucker, and we have proof. So they go, what does Devon have to say about this? And Lily says, I haven't talked to Devon. I'm going to talk to him next. We wanted to tell you, and then we're going to talk to Devon. So she goes, okay. And then that's when Jill gets up to go see Tucker. And Daniel's telling Lily, you know what, Lily? Hold off on, telling Devon we don't have enough concrete. And Lily says, no, we have enough. She goes, I'm going to tell you something, Daniel. One of the things that Devon and I promised ourselves when we, got back together again is complete transparency. No, I'm not going to hold this off and not tell him so we can get something. No, I'm going to tell Devon what we have when we have it. And we have enough to go to him and tell him. So I'm going to do that. And I'm happy she said that because she's right. They don't need to. Devon is no kid that needs to be protected. He suspects Tucker umpteenth time, right? So whatever, folks. So anyway, that's where we stand on Thursday with The Young and the Restless. I will be back tomorrow for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.